Welcome Trinidad and Tobago to a News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited. I'm Joseph Lopez. Let's take a look at the headlines. The Prime Minister returns from a 10-day trip to the U.S. and defends this country's co-sponsoring of the United Nations draft resolution on terrorism. St. Margaret's Village, Claxton Bay to enjoy a $25.8 billion Presbyterian school after taking just over 1 year for its construction. And Caribbean neighbor Dominica launches their Dominica Nature Island Challenge. Thank you for joining us. Top of the news. Trinidad and Tobago are islands on their own, but still belong to an international family. This is the message being reiterated by Prime Minister the Honorable Kamla Persad-Bissessor as she emphasizes the importance of this country co-sponsoring the United Nations draft resolution on terrorism. Now speaking at Thursday's post-cabinet media briefing, Mrs. Persad-Bissessor says, aside from the responsibility the country holds to the rest of the United Nations family, she believes our history makes this move a prudent one.
We were invited to by the United States to co-sponsor the resolution, and we were very happy to do so because we have had our own experiences here in Trinidad and Tobago with extremists in 1990. In fact, I think even before terrorists hit in the US or elsewhere, we might have been amongst the first nations to have experienced the very adverse effects from extremists in Trinidad and Tobago.
The PM also explains that more than 100 countries co-sponsored the resolution, including our Caribbean neighbor Jamaica, as the agreement is highly beneficial to local law enforcement bodies.
What it does is really to put into this agreement certain areas of law enforcement that we already have taking place in Trinidad and Tobago. Secondly, what it does further now is to give us opportunities for more intelligence sharing so that we can be better prepared in the fight against terrorism. That was a very important event. At the end of the day, 104 countries signed on to it, co-sponsored it, and in fact all 196 nations of the United Nations family, all those countries are bound by that resolution.
Mrs. Persad-Bissessor adds that while a few legislative changes may be required to fall in line with the resolution, the country for the most part is on the right track.
We already have some of that law in place. Legislative changes would be required from the co-sponsoring, but a lot of it is already in place. For example, the advanced passenger information is already part of our law. You'll recall not too long ago, we dealt with fingerprinting at our ports of entry. That matter was dealt with in the Parliament as well. Only recently, just before I left, I know that Friday, yes, on Friday, just after the budget debate that same week, and prior to the party, we passed in the Parliament laws dealing with anti-money laundering, the FATF provisions, and we had done several phases of that. So those laws are in place, and we continue to strengthen those laws to deal with money laundering, the financing of narco-trafficking, illegal arms and ammunition. So we do have a lot of what may be required in the legislative framework.
The Prime Minister says the greatest number of changes may be seen in the administrative framework and measures surrounding international travel and from Trinidad and Tobago. We'll have more news for you after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. In just over 1 year and 4 months, the Union Presbyterian School at St. Margaret's Village, Claxton Bay, has been completed and will soon be open to students of the Denominational Institute. Now, according to the Minister of Education, Dr. Tim Gopising, the school was completed at a cost of $25.8 million, VAT and contingency inclusive.
Watch out.
The brand new Union Presbyterian School at St. Margaret's Village, Claxton Bay, boasts a total of 2,200 meters square and can accommodate up to 420 students, twice the current population at the school. Speaking at the official opening of the school, Education Minister Dr. Tim Gopising lauded the Education Facilities Company and contractor Hukmali Ali Limited for a job well done. The school boasts of impressive internal and external facilities such as the usual classrooms, bathroom facilities, staff accommodation, kitchen and cafeteria, in addition to a computer room, specialist classroom, science and technology room, music and art and craft rooms, and a sick bay. Externally, there is a car park, guard booth, water tank farm, and access ramp. Addressing the students directly, the Education Minister reiterated that the People's Partnership Government was committed to ensuring every citizen of Trinidad and Tobago had the opportunity to gain a proper and well-rounded education.
These schools are a testimony of our commitment as a government to service, to delivery to the people. A demonstration, as I have said before, of our fundamental belief that all citizens of this country, whether they come from the cities or the urban areas or the suburban areas or still some areas that may be considered as rural, or when communities in our capital are entitled to the best systems and resources your government can provide, we ensure that we continue to provide for all citizens in every corner of Trinidad and Tobago.
Minister Gopi Singh also said that government has integrated its progressive dynamic education policy into one which not only caters to the educational and developmental needs of all the nation's students, but also one which has contributed significantly to the economy, specifically the construction sector. Meanwhile, also addressing the students was Acting Prime Minister and Minister of Labour and Small and Micro Enterprise Development, Errol McLeod. He told the students their school was built in keeping with government's national policy on education.
The construction of this school is the latest in the line of local results of the government's national long-term educational plan to ensure that all our children are provided with quality institutions which are safe, which are comfortable, and which are conducive to learning.
The Education Ministry says for the past 4 years, the education sector has received the largest allocation of budget consecutively, with the allocation over $9 billion being close to 18% of the annual expenditure and close to 6% of this country's GDP, higher than the US, Canada, and the UK. Felicia Wilson, Mon News 4.
The University of the West Indies continues to make strides in the field of research, and recently time was taken to recognize outstanding researchers and contributors during its recently held second biennial Research Awards ceremony.
University of the West Indies St. Augustine formally celebrated the achievements of its research staff during its second biennial Research Awards ceremony. The ceremony on Wednesday was hosted in collaboration with the National Gas Company of Trinidad and Tobago. The theme, Celebrating Excellence in Research, showcased the outstanding research contribution of individual researchers and research teams, including postgraduate students. Recipients of the grants under the second call for proposals of the very competitive UWI Research and Development Impact Fund were also recognized at the ceremony. According to campus principal Professor Clement Sankat, research excellence is an area that has distinguished the University of the West Indies as a regional tertiary institution for over 60 years. He explained that the awards allow the St. Augustine campus to pay tribute to its outstanding researcher, both staff and students, and to raise awareness of the very relevant and impactful research being carried out across the various faculties and departments. Meanwhile, the president of NGC noted that for many years, education has been an axis of NGC's corporate social investment program, but for the company, the investment is more than just a CSI commitment. It is one of the reasons the company exists. Nikolai Edwards, News 4.
Sport news when we return. Stay with us. Welcome back. One-time runway leaders St. Anthony's College needed to get back on track after back-to-back losses in the Premier Division of the Secondary School Football League. They met mid-table dwellers St. Mary's College, who also needed a win to keep pace with the leaders. This made for a very tight contest, and here's Wayne Cunningham with the highlights.
St. Mary's College held home field advantage as they welcomed St. Anthony's at their Serpentine Road facility for a crucial encounter in the Secondary Schools Football League. What is now called the Battle of the Saints was important for both teams, with CIC looking to stay in contention and St. Anthony's hoping to stem a slide, which saw them lose 2 straight after winning 6 on a canter from opening day. St. Anthony's were pressing early. Shaquem Patrick's wayward shot would not be the last. St. Mary's were also guilty. Just when it looked to be 0-0 at halftime, the Frederick Street squad struck as they caught the Tigers napping in the 43rd minute. Ethan Shim, working well with Chinua Bernard, then just inside to beat Uba Augustine, much to the delight of the home fans. 1-0 St. Mary's, the score at the interval. St. Anthony's came out hot in the second period, but failed to improve that shooting. Keston Herrera also going wide as the sun sets in St. Clair. Nicholas Moyo joining the shooting wide party. Kwesi Allen started and was hoping to finish this move, but resolute defending kept him at bay in front of goal. That was the last real throw of the dice for St. Anthony's as they lose 1-0 to St. Mary's, a loss which dropped them to third on the standings as Naparima College now heads the table after a 2-0 win over Fatima. San Juan North Secondary jumped into second spot courtesy a 4-1 trouncing of Presentation College San Fernando. They are one of 4 teams now on 18 points, one adrift of Naparima. Wayne Cunningham, News 4 Sports.
Thank you, Wayne. We'll take a break. You're with News 4. Welcome back. Love fitness challenges? Then Dominica has the right one just for you. With the growing popularity of outdoor fitness events such as hardcore, Trinidad and Tobago is seen as a lucrative market for those wishing to attract fitness enthusiasts. And if you are not so enthused by fitness challenges, well, there's a wide range of activities on the island, including the World Creole Music Festival you can look forward to, commencing October 24th, 2014. The Discover Dominica Authority and the tourism body for Dominica certainly believes it has just the right event for those so inclined. At a media launch, Colin Piper, Director of Tourism, touted the Dominica Nature Island Challenge, which is set in the heart of the island along the 115-mile Waitukabuli National Trail. The trail, Piper said, is the longest hiking trail in the Caribbean, and the challenge is said to be one of the most difficult, with participants having to achieve grueling feats.
In April of 2015, we have the next NIC 3.0 happening, so we have some deadlines coming up. October 31st, you need to apply, show interest, and then we give you an opportunity through January to work on your sponsorship and to offset some of the costs. But going to natureislandchallenge.com is a good way to find out about the challenge.
The challenge, now in its second year, was won back in May by a team from Trinidad called Team Trinidad White from the Island Hikers Elite Team. The team comprised of Wayne Matthew and Clive Pilley, among others. Team Trinidad Red, led by Diane Henderson, placed second. Matthew and Pilley was present at the launch and described the challenge as a chance of a lifetime.
The Natureland Challenge was a chance of a lifetime. It was real fun. I encourage anybody to do that. Besides seeing all the lovely areas, going through the trails, beautiful waterfalls. I went to the Boiling Lake as well last year. Every year they incorporate something new. There's so much things to see in Dominica.
The Dominica experience for me, it was, well, I would just put it in pre-Dominica, during Dominica, and post-Dominica, right? Well, pre-Dominica was challenging for us getting sponsors and stuff to get there, right? But after getting there and starting the trails, I mean, that is our passion, every day was a welcoming adventure for us. just getting out there, beating the trails, running under the canopy of the Dominican forest. That for us was excellent.
Colin Piper said it's a product they developed in Dominica because of the comparative advantage in terms of the number of trails. Stating that Trinidad and Tobago is one of the markets they want to focus on, Piper said this decision was guided by a study conducted over the last 12 months.
Dominica is open for business, and Trinidad is just a wonderful place in terms of some of the things Dominica has to offer, like hiking and diving, will resonate with the people of Trinidad. Not only our nature, not only our culture, but our adventure seems to resonate with the people of Trinidad, and we want to give them every opportunity to come visit us. So we wanted to inform them about what is special and unique about Dominica, and give them every incentive to come to Dominica on their next vacation.
The island is also gearing up for its World Creole Music Festival, carded for October 24th to 26th, 2014. The event, which is proudly represented by the government of Dominica, will offer 3 nights of pulsating rhythms at the Windsor Park Sports Stadium, Dominica. Leroy Waddick's Charles Dominica Festivals Committee got us excited about 30 hours of non-stop music as he gave the media an insight to the festival.
We have invited this year the reigning groovy soca monarch Kerwin Dubois, also Dennis Belfort, and Destruct. Let's give a round of applause to those, because Caribbean integration, cultural integration, is we as a people, we sometimes we extend ourselves so far to look for the talent, and the talent around us is premium quality. It's like the Rolls Royce in the Caribbean.
The World Creole Music Festival was conceived out of a need to provide a platform for Dominican musicians and musical expressions, and to increase the island's visibility overseas. The annual World Creole Music Festival was created in 1997 as a means of boosting tourist arrivals in Dominica during its independence celebrations, and to increase revenue from stayover visitors coming to the island for this celebration. The introduction of the festival is also expected to broaden Dominica's tourism product base and to promote Creole music and a major musical art form. And that's how we wrap up this edition of our News 4 Report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited. Remember, you can view a repeat of our newscast weekdays at 6 a.m. and feel free to visit our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/OurTV4. Also, be sure to visit our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/TheGISLTD. I'm Joseph Lopez. Thank you for watching.